Welcome. We're going to go ahead and create an HTML5 page template, and we're using Netbeans. So in the past I've been using the Dreamweaver IDE, which I really like. It is really good, but it's proprietary and kind of expensive actually. And I use Netbeans for a bunch of other development with Java and that. But the tools now have gotten really good, so I decided to start using Netbeans for web development as well. And later on, when we start doing the Cordova stuff, if you're in the scripting class, you'll really see that this is nice. So we're going to create a page and site templates with Netbeans, and we're going to use these later on to create the projects for our labs. Eventually we'll create a template for jQuery Mobile. That probably won't be in this video, it'll probably be in the next one. I've already done this with some earlier videos, and again I used Dreamweaver then, so there's really no difference in the HTML content here, although this is done later and might be a little better. And again, I'll be using Netbeans in both my fundamentals of web and client-side web programming courses, so you really should go with the Netbeans here. If you want to use Dreamweaver, you can, but in some cases you're going to have to use Netbeans. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I open Netbeans. This is the default. I'm using 8.0.2. That should be what we have in the lab and in the virtual machines as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File. And I'm going to start by creating a new project. It's going to show me some options here. I want HTML5. Note that I can build an HTML5 application with existing sources, but we're going to build one from the whole hog, so we'll choose the first option. We'll go next. And now we tell it where to go. Now this is going to take me a second because I'm making mine on my Google Drive. You'll be either saving yours into your virtual machine in the sandbox or to some local storage, either on the C drive or flash drive, whatever you're using. And we'll talk about some of those mechanics in class. I won't worry about those here in the video. Okay, so I'm going to hit Browse, and this is kind of a pain. I like to use the Google Drive though because it lets me work across my different computers. But it's a little bit of a kludge here to get into it for Netbeans. Okay, what am I doing here? CP1 working. No, this is HTML5 working. Netbeans vids. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to create a new folder here. And then this is going to be the name of the project here. And that'll create a folder with that name. So I'm going to just create a test folder this first time here. Let's see, let me think about this. Yeah, well, we'll give it a shot. We'll see if we can get the right thing right from the beginning here. So I'm going to call this HTML5 site template. Okay, and that's going to be in the directory I already found, so I'll just click next. And now later on, when I create a new site, I'll use this to use my template, but I don't have any yet, presumably, because I'm creating them. I actually do have some, but it doesn't make sense to show you that. Here's where we can select the JavaScript. We're not going to do that yet, so we'll just click Finish. That's kind of slow. Usually isn't. Okay. There we go. So here's my project folder that just was created, HTML5 site template. It has the site root directory and has a single index.html file. And that's what we're going to start working on here. So the first thing we can do is we can get rid of this little comment here about how to change the templates. We don't need to have that in every page we make. And then we have the right doc type for HTML5. We have the HTML. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this here. There we go. So it's full screen. Okay, this is good. So we got the viewport, the character set. Good. Alright, so let's start by adding a couple more things here. From every site we create is going to have a CSS file attached to it, and we use the link to add that in. So I'm going to come down here and I want to put my link element in the head of my document. So here we go. So we'll just put that link. And notice how the drop down helps me out here. And then we'll just grab the href. And this is going to be the name of the file. So I'm going to call this main.css. And then the relationship for that file is the style sheet. And then you can give it an ID, but I won't be using it, so I won't bother. What was the other thing? The type, yeah. So let's put the type in there. And that's going to be text/CSS. Okay. And then this is a singleton. Whoops. So we put the end there. Okay, let's save this. Control S. Now let me pop back over here into my project. And I'm going to do new and CSS file. And we'll call this main.css to match the name that we already used. And here we go. Now I don't really need to have any of this stuff in here, so I'll delete it. Control S to save. So we have two files now in our site template. Let's just take a final look at our index. And so basically when we come in, we'll give the page title here. And usually that'll get replicated here. This is going to probably get redone, so there'll be a bunch of content in here each time. Let's go ahead and save it that way. Okay, so now I've created a real basic template, but I need to create a specific one for the kind of HTML5 programming that we're going to be doing here. So let me go ahead and save as template. And now I can give it a name. So basic HTML5 template. Oh, let's make that site template. Yeah. There we go. And now, just so you know, what this does is it shows you what to include in the template file. And I'm not sure yet about some of the stuff like the test. But if you expand this, you can see there's the files. So, okay, so let's just go ahead and hit finish. And now I'm going to close this. So it's all empty. And now we're going to do a new one. So File, New Project. What we're going to do now is create an HTML5 section template. So HTML5 application. And then this is going to be HTML5 section template. And it defaulted to where I want it again. So let's see. Next. Now here we're going to change. So we're going to use the template that we just created. come in here. There it is, HTML5 site template. Let's see. And those other templates are ones that I created previously here. And I wanted to, show you the whole process, so that's why I'm not using those. Okay, we don't need a JavaScript file here yet. We'll add that in a minute if we're in the client-side course. Okay, so notice that it's picked up where we left off. So I've got this new project, and it created the files for me, so that's really nice. And so, for instance, this main CSS is already linked in here, and now I'm going to go ahead and build the HTML structure. So there's a couple of structures. There's the section and the article. I don't tend to use the article too much. I'll try to cover it for you, but generally I use the section. And the section also is real similar to jQuery. So in the body of the document, we create a section element. And notice Netbeans prompts me to do the matching tag, which is always good. So I've just created the opening and closing tags for the section. And now I'm just going to break this up. So it's going to have a div, a header div. I shouldn't say that, a header element. Sorry. So header, whoops. And again, we'll just close that right off. Go to the next line. This is going to be called main. And then footer. So let's get that nice and tight. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's go back and expand a few things here. In the header, I can have usually an H1 heading, and it's kind of like the title of the page. And then if I have a navigation system where I have multiple pages that are linked together, that'll be here in the header as well. So I'll just go ahead and put that into the template. And then down in the footer, I usually have kind of boilerplate stuff too. This is a horizontal rule, which is a line that goes across the screen like a divider line. And I'm just going to put my copyright here. Again, that's a character entity there, so that's the copyright symbol. Oh, here I should put the date. Yeah, 2015, Tom Wolfe. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save that, and just to make this interesting, let's go ahead and put a simple background color on the page, so we'll be able to see when we're using our template. Because right now when I create this and I look at it, it won't have any content in it. So we can spruce this up a little bit here. So page display title here. That's going to show up. And then that needs to have a title too. Let's see. Okay. Alright, let's go on over here to the CSS. We're going to learn this later on, but right now I'm just going to try putting a background color on the body. So body. And then you start a rule body with the curly braces. And then I put my attribute and its value here for each rule. So this is an attribute called background color, and I'll just grab it, and then I'm going to use yellow here for my background color. I'm kind of fond of that. It's easy to read. I like the contrast of the black, and I'll hit Control S to save that. And then let's come back here. Now I want to show you how I can play this. So if I go up here to the browser icon I can set which browser to use to test this. And I like to test with Chrome, and I have an extension set there, that Netbeans connector, and I installed that in Chrome. So we might not have that in the lab, but what you can use is the embedded WebKit browser. That works real well. You can also use Firefox and Internet Explorer. So let's just use Internet Explorer this first time. So now I've set which one to use. Notice the icon there changed. I think I can click on that to launch it, but I usually use the green arrow. So this should launch IE and show my basic page template. So now I can see the page display title here. There's the horizontal rule, and there's the footer that I put in. So my template's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And now I'm going to save this as a template, because this is really the refined one that I'll use most of the time. So we'll just go up here and save as template. HTML5 section site template. And so now when I create most of my pages where I want this section structure, I'll go ahead and use that template to do that. Okay, that's pretty good. How much time do we have in here? 16 minutes. I should probably do the jQuery separately. Hang on a moment. Okay, so I think this is actually a good place to stop, and I'll pick up in the next video, and we'll do the jQuery mobile template. Alrighty.